Alright guys, so I was going to make this video today and I was thinking, oh, I need to go set up my gear and shoot this video, but it's really just a talking video and mostly just a public service announcement. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to kind of film it while I'm working. Now about 6 months ago, I made a video about multi-channel networks, MCNs. If you don't know what an MCN is, basically it's an organization that makes all these claims about how they're going to help your YouTube channel for a fee. Obviously, nothing's for free, and they take about, it depends, it's either 20 to 25%, sometimes it's more. I ended up signing a 2-year contract with them. 2 years! And they ended up taking 20% of my earnings. And I would say, if I just do some quick math, let's see, 200. I probably paid them somewhere in the neighborhood about $6,000 to $7,000 in the last 2 years. That is a lot of money. Could have gone into my pockets, but I gave it to them. And you know, if I had gotten what they told me I would get, I would have no problems paying for it. I understand nothing's free. I'm out of my contract with them. I actually got my last payment this morning, so now I'm gonna tell you about this. Studio 71 was the company that I was with, and man, I tell you, they got some slick salesmen. You know, the gentleman in Toronto who, when he was trying to get me to sign on, I mean, I'd call him and he'd be at the gym, he'd stop his workout and pick up the phone. Once I was in the contract and I had some frustrations to talk to him about, literally I tried for months on end and I couldn't get a hold. I finally ended up getting a text message back saying, hey, please send me an email if you have any concerns. Basically what these guys do is they promise YouTubers that, oh, you know what, we're gonna have brand deals, these endorsements. So I was told that GMC was looking for a Canadian content creator, and they wanted him to basically do a television commercial, and he said that, you know what, my name's coming up in conversation, literally. And you know, between that, they also had one of their people that they work with ended up doing some McDonald's commercials, and I knew about that, so I thought, hey, this is the real deal. They told me DeWalt wants to work with your channel and basically wants to kit you up. And of course, I mean, I'm excited about that type of an opportunity. I thought that'd be great. So I signed on with them, and none of that came to fruition. They had a couple little opportunities to do some advertising, but it was about like fantasy sports gambling leagues, which really has nothing to do with my channel and not anything that I want to endorse. I turned that one down, so I guess they did get me one brand deal one Christmas, but all in all, you know what? They're here. They have companies like Roman Atwood is with Studio 71, Good Mythical Morning. They have some really big, I think Superwoman. They have some really big YouTube content creators, and they probably do good for those guys. But it's like, you know, Doug with Off Grid, Doug and Stacy. Him and I, we were both with Studio 71. And when he came here to do our collaboration, we spent a lot of our time complaining about Studio 71 and just how frustrated we were with them. And it's like, Doug put it very well. He said they choose channels the size of us to pay for their coffee and toilet paper, right? If they can get a couple $100 from a whole bunch of these creators, we can keep the lights on in their Hollywood offices. That was the only plan that they had for my channel, the only intention. They did a little bit of stuff like told you some of the simple practices for optimizing your channel, and mostly they said, hey, you need to start putting tags in your videos, which I never did before. They also, I will say this, the one thing they did give me was a membership to Epidemic Sound, which is where I get a lot of the music for my videos. But that membership, if I go buy it myself, I think it's like $12.99 per month. I could have literally saved myself at least $180 every single month had I not signed with them, and I would be in the exact same position I am today. In fact, I might even be further ahead, because when working with Studio 71, as I was getting frustrated, I asked them, and they told me, they said, if at any point in time you're not happy, we can part ways. And 6 months into it, I was like, you know what, I don't see anything happening here. And they just kept saying, oh, we're working on it, we're working on it. And I said, you know what, I'm really not happy, I'd like to part ways. And then they told me, said, oh no, I'm sorry, there's certain conditions that this and this and this, and we could part ways, but they still get 20% of my YouTube earnings. So that's pretty awesome for them, right? They tell you, oh, if you're ever unhappy, you know, we can part ways. We're still gonna take your money, but we're just not gonna talk to you anymore. So anyways, that's what they do. And mostly, I would just like to say to anybody that's ever thinking of a multi-channel network, never. There's lots of other ones, lots of different companies. Studio 71, it just happens to be the one that I was with. You know, right after I signed with them, shortly after, they actually called Alex Steele and they said, hey, we'd like you to jump aboard. And then Alec and I were like working on that collaboration. the collaboration that I've completely stalled on. We'll get on this soon. But I told Alec, I said, never, man. I said, you know what? You're killing it on YouTube. You're doing well. You've got it figured out. You're working hard. Don't let them take your money. And also, when I made my last video about 6 months ago, Floris Postumus, he actually made this little owl for me. He had said that he was actually considering joining an MCN, so he's so glad that I made that video. And honestly, to that extent, I had one person not sign with an MCN because of that video. That made it 100% worth it. And that's all this video is here too. A lot of you have been asking lately, oh, are you out of your contract? And it was 2 weeks ago, I think, I finally got out. And I just got my last payout, so figured I'd let you guys know. And again, you know, divulge information. You know, it's funny because I was really angry, really bitter, you could say, you know, when I was stuck with them, when I was stuck in my contract. Now that I'm out, I'm mostly just exuberant. I'm a happy camper. I'm excited about making videos again. You know, there's a certain sense if you're working hard at something and then somebody just comes along and goes, and takes a whole bunch of what you've just made, it kind of gets you disheartened. And I will admit, for the last 2 years here on YouTube, I've been in a bit of a funk, a bit of a cloud. And it is just entirely because of the fact that no matter what I do here, they're not going to do anything for me, and they're going to take my money. They're a bunch of clown donkeys, they're a bunch of thieves, and mostly it just feels great. I mean, I was mad. I used to be way more mad, but as soon as I got on my contract, I was like, you know what? I'm not mad anymore. I'm just ready to move on. So that's what we're doing on this channel. We're moving on. Gonna be a lot more varied content. Obviously, knife making stuff. It's fun. Check that out. 1/16 inch grounder, real thin. And one thing I did, sorry, this has nothing to do with this video. This is a little quick tip for some people that take the time to watch this. Do the dowel method. So we drill our hole, put a dowel in, all that stuff. Glue everything up with epoxy. And I have this little clamp right here. This is just one of these wood clamps. Turbo Grip by Mastercraft. It's pretty much garbage. These are nothing like the Irwin clamps, but right here, you see a little modification? I took that in my milling machine and I milled that slot out so that what I can do, I can get everything glued up, put all together, stick this in here, clamp it down, right? So it's all clamped nice and tight. And while that epoxy is drying, you know, I'll clamp it real quick, boom, 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 and then pull the blade out. And let everything dry and cure lined up like that. So it's all one piece. Then I take my little torch and I very lightly, and I'm talking very, you know, I still hold on to this bare fingered right here. So I'm just getting it warm. I would say maybe like 150, 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And obviously once the epoxy's cured, then all we're gonna do is just simply burn out the epoxy, just melt out the epoxy, and it works really good. Nothing like burning a tang of a knife. It's way cooler. You're not gonna burn the wood at that temperature, just melt out the epoxy, and you end up with such a great snug fit, removable. Then when I go to glue it back up, I'll just put a thin little layer of epoxy all over the tang, and I can shape this handle. I can take the blade out, shape my handle, do all my profiling, and then glue it back up when it's all finished. Really slick little trick. Anyways, I apologize for the entire interruption. So, still gonna be a lot of knife making, but there's going to be a lot of other stuff that I was excited to share back in the early days of the channel. You know, I started this channel, it's called Simple Little Life, and it was kind of about taking as much control of your life as you can. You know, growing your own food, financial independence. I haven't really covered much on that, but you know, just kind of living the life that you want to live. And that's kind of been the entire prerogative of this channel. And I've just been kind of so bummed out because I wasn't living a simple little life the last 2 years because I was being controlled, right? I was working for the man. They were taking my money. I wasn't free. I feel like I'm a free man now. I can do as I please. I don't have to worry. You know, I just freedom to do whatever. If I'm going to do whatever I want on YouTube, if it gets views, doesn't matter. I don't care. Before they were kind of like trying to steer my content and saying, oh, we really think you should focus on this. You should do this. And Largely, I didn't listen to them, but the exciting thing is that I can do whatever I want here on YouTube, and I pay the full consequences. If I make a lot of money doing it on YouTube, great. If I don't, great. But I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for myself, and what little does come in on YouTube goes to me because I'm the one doing the work, not some multi-channel network. I think they kind of target people like in the, you know, the range of like maybe 30 to 80,000 subscribers. I think that's an ideal target for them because that's when you're starting to gain traction. You're starting to be like, hey, we're getting noticed. You're getting some views. And they told me, say, oh, we're gonna get you up right away within the first 3 months. You'll have 300,000 subscribers. Hello. You'll have over 3 million views per month. And they give you all these things. But the thing is, in the contract, it doesn't have those milestones. They tell you that over the phone. They do say in the contract, we are going to help you grow your subscribers. We're gonna help you get more views. But it's not a measurable thing. So as long as I had more now than I did when I signed with them, they've fulfilled their end of the bargain, even though really they didn't do anything except up the online payment thing that took all my Google money. They got their 80% or their 20%. Once they had their 20%, then they gave the rest to me. They have everything set up in their favor. The way these companies work, and it's a shame, anytime somebody that's lazy or dishonest sees somebody else doing good things, they're gonna jump on them. They're gonna be like, hey, I gotta try and get a piece of his pie. He's doing stuff. Things are working for him. I want some of that. I'm too lazy to do it myself, or I'm not talented. I don't have the skills to do it myself. So I'm gonna steal what somebody else is doing or come in as an agent for them. I understand actresses and musicians and stuff. It helps if they can have a good manager or an agent, but that's not what an MCN is. Not even close. They're a bunch of clown donkeys. They're out to steal your money. And if you are a YouTuber or an aspiring YouTuber or want to YouTube, never, ever sign with an MCN. Let's put these multi-channel networks out of business. Let's kibosh these sons of guns, because you know what? At the end of the day, they're doing it for their own benefit. They don't care about you, except for the fact that you can make them some money. That's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers.